Have you ever felt like your life was paused, like the world kept moving, and you were somehow left behind? Maybe you've watched others bloom, succeed, love, while you stayed in a quiet in-between waiting, wondering if your moment would ever come. You tell yourself you're fine. You smile. You work hard. You try to be patient. But deep down, you wonder why life feels so heavy for a soul that only wants to give light. What if I told you the universe doesn't forget rare souls? It protects them. It hides them. It delays them not to punish, but to prepare. Because rare souls aren't meant to just exist. They're meant to shift everything they touch. And the universe knows that kind of power can't be rushed. Some people are born into softness but never learn depth. Others are carved by pain until their gentleness becomes wisdom. You, the one listening right now, you're not behind. You're becoming. The stillness, the heartbreak, the confusion, they're not signs of failure. They're sacred proof that you're being refined. Maybe you've outgrown people who no longer recognize you. Maybe the places you once fit now feel too small. Maybe you've loved with all your being, only to be left empty. And still, you keep going. You still care. You still hope. That's what makes you rare. So tonight, let's talk about the unseen journey of the soul that the universe protects. The reason your path has been slower, quieter, lonelier than you expected. The truth about why everything you wanted didn't happen when you wanted it to. Take a deep breath. Let your guard down for a moment. This isn't a story about struggle, it's about recognition. Because I know you felt invisible while carrying a light too bright for most to see. And if you've ever whispered to yourself, maybe I'm not meant for this world, hear me clearly. You are. You're just meant for a different rhythm. Before we begin, if you find pieces of yourself in these words, stay with me till the end. And if you want more stories that speak to your heart, subscribe, share, or simply leave a comment that says, I'm still here. Not for me, but to remind yourself that your light hasn't gone out. It's only waiting for its moment. Now, let's step into the truth that's been waiting for you. Why the universe protects rare souls until they're ready to shine. There's something the universe understands that we often forget. Brilliance needs darkness before it can glow. You can't see stars without night. And some souls like yours were born to shine in ways that demand patience, solitude, and pain that feels almost unbearable. But maybe no one ever told you that your delays are not denials. The quiet chapters of your life are not punishments. They are calibration. The universe takes time with rare souls because they carry fragile, irreplaceable frequencies, ones that can't be forged in ease. Think of the times you begged for things to work out: a job, a love, a dream, and they slipped away. You thought you failed. But the truth is, you were being protected from what wasn't strong enough to hold you, because rare souls don't belong in fragile spaces. Your depth requires foundations that don't crumble when you finally show up as your full self. And I know you've probably asked, why does it have to hurt so much? Because pain makes you honest. It strips away the layers of who you thought you needed to be, and it leaves you standing in your truth, bare, trembling, but real. And from that place, the universe starts to rebuild you with intention. Maybe you've noticed, people come and go, sometimes without explanation. The universe doesn't always give closure, because it knows closure would make you stay longer than you're meant to. You're being guided by absence as much as by presence. Every ending, every loss, every rejection, it's all a silent message. You are being rerouted to alignment. There's a kind of strength in you that was never taught. It was remembered. The way you sense people's pain, how you forgive before apologies come, how you still love even after being hurt, that's not weakness. That's sacred endurance. The world calls it sensitivity, but it's really awareness. The kind that sees truth before it's spoken. The kind that feels the energy in a room before words fill it. That awareness can make you feel cursed when you're surrounded by noise and dishonesty, but one day it will become your compass. It will lead you to people who speak the same soul language quietly, deeply, without pretense. You see, The universe protects you not by keeping you safe from pain, but by giving you the exact experiences you need to awaken your gifts. The heartbreak that shattered you, it opened your empathy. The loneliness that felt unbearable, it built your self-trust. The disappointments that left you questioning everything they taught you discernment. You weren't abandoned. You were being refined in sacred isolation. The world wasn't ready for your softness yet. The timing wasn't off. You were just in rehearsal for the version of you that would one day walk into your destiny and recognize it instantly. So if you're in the waiting room of your life right now, listen, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not late. You're incubating. The universe hides rare souls until the world can meet them with respect instead of fear. And when that time comes, the things that once hurt will start to make sense. You'll see how the storms cleared your path, how the losses trimmed your distractions, how the silence made space for your voice. Because rare souls aren't built for speed, they're built for impact. You don't need to chase visibility. You need to grow roots deep enough to hold your future light. So breathe. You are not being forgotten. You are being prepared. And one day, everything that felt unfair will feel like sacred timing. Sometimes, the universe lets everything fall apart, not because you did something wrong, but because you've outgrown who you were when you built it. It's strange, isn't it? How one day you wake up and realize that what once felt like home now feels like a cage. The friendships that once gave you comfort start to drain you. The dreams that once excited you now feel too small. Even your reflection looks different, as if your soul quietly shifted overnight. But that's how growth happens for rare souls, silently, invisibly, beneath the surface. You don't get to announce it. You just become. There was a time when you thought you could save everyone. You poured yourself out like water, hoping to heal others so they would stay. But the universe doesn't let rare souls stay small for love. It will let people walk away if that's what it takes for you to learn that your worth isn't in your giving, it's in your being. And I know how that feels. The nights you replay every word, wondering what you could have done differently. The ache in your chest when someone you would have bled for forgets your name. The quiet sobs when you realize no one is coming to save you this time. But that moment, the one where you sit alone, exhausted, heart cracked open, that's the turning point. That's when the universe whispers, "Now, you can hear me." Because when you're done performing for love, you start returning to yourself. You begin to see the beauty in your solitude, the power in your sensitivity, the magic in your truth. You realize that peace was never in being understood by others. It was in understanding yourself. The universe protects you by breaking your heart in just the right places so the light can enter. Every person who left taught you something about what you truly deserve. Every failure pulled you closer to what was meant for you. Every delay was divine redirection. You weren't losing your way, you were being guided home. And maybe no one clapped for your healing. Maybe no one saw how hard it was just to get out of bed some days. But the universe did. It saw every tear, every prayer whispered in the dark, every moment you kept going when it would have been easier to give up. It takes courage to rebuild yourself quietly while the world thinks you're fine. But that's what rare souls do. They transform in silence, then emerge luminous. And when that moment comes, when your light finally meets its purpose, you'll realize that the wait was never punishment. It was alignment. The universe needed you to be whole before it could trust you with the magnitude of your mission. Because rare souls don't just receive blessings, they become them. They touch others by existing in truth, by embodying love, by holding space for wounds they've already healed. You are one of them. That's why your path has been different. That's why your lessons have been heavier. The universe only refines gold through fire, and you are made of gold. There will come a day when you finally understand why it all happened the way it did. The betrayals that shattered your faith, the silence that felt like abandonment, the years of feeling unseen, all of it was the universe preparing you for a season that required everything you've learned in the dark. Rare souls aren't meant to be understood by many. You'll notice that. People will misread your kindness as weakness, your quiet as disinterest, your boundaries as walls. But don't shrink. The ones who are meant for you will recognize your energy instantly, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. They will look at you and see peace, depth, truth, and they'll know they've met someone who doesn't pretend. Those people are coming, but first, you have to clear space for them. That's why the universe took things away. It wasn't cruelty, it was cleansing. You can't step into alignment while clinging to things that were built from your old self. The person you are becoming needs room to breathe. There's a story the universe tells in the quiet moments, the story of the soul who walked through fire and didn't just survive, but remembered its purpose. That's your story. You were never meant to fit into shallow places. You were meant to transform them simply by being real. And maybe that's why you've always felt like you didn't belong anywhere, because you were never supposed to. You were designed to belong everywhere you bring authenticity, to be the reminder that even in a world obsessed with noise, stillness is strength. Sometimes the universe hides rare souls not because they're unworthy, but because they're sacred. The world isn't always gentle with sacred things. It would rather consume than cherish. So the universe keeps you unseen, unknown, until you are strong enough to protect your own light. That's why your timing is slower. That's why your life has required solitude. It's training not for performance, but for presence. You're learning to hold your power without needing to prove it. When the moment comes, you won't need to announce yourself. You'll simply walk into rooms and shift their energy. You'll speak, and hearts will soften. You'll love, and people will remember what safety feels like. Because that's what rare souls do. They remind the world of its humanity. They show that softness is not weakness, that boundaries are not rejection, that patience is not passivity. You've spent years misunderstanding yourself, thinking something was wrong with you for feeling too deeply, for caring too much, for needing meaning where others saw none. But what you thought was a flaw was actually your compass. It was the universe's way of saying, this is your frequency, don't lose it. And now, you're standing on the edge of a new beginning. You might not see it yet, but your energy is changing. You're quieter now, more discerning, less eager to chase, more willing to wait. That's growth. That's the universe whispering, you're ready. So when you doubt yourself again, and you will remember this, nothing meant for you will ever need force to stay. The right people, the right opportunities, the right timing, they will meet you where your peace lives. Until then, rest, breathe. Keep tending to your light in private. The universe is working behind the scenes, aligning everything in ways you can't yet imagine. And when your season comes, you'll understand that the waiting was never empty. It was sacred preparation. Do you know what happens when a rare soul finally steps into alignment? The world shifts, not dramatically, not with fireworks or applause, but quietly, like dawn breaking after a long night. You start to notice peace in places where there used to be pain. You start saying no without guilt. You stop chasing love and start being love. That's when you realize the universe was never against you. It was protecting you from versions of yourself that couldn't hold what was coming. All those nights you felt like giving up, they were the last tests of faith before breakthrough. Every time you let go, every time you surrendered, every time you trusted the unknown, you were saying yes to the life that's been waiting for you. There's a quiet power in acceptance. When you stop fighting for what's leaving, you make space for what's meant to arrive. You stop trying to fix what was never broken you and start seeing yourself as the masterpiece that was simply in progress. You'll feel it first in your body. The tension will soften. The heart that once ached from longing will begin to hum with peace. The noise in your mind will fade, replaced by a subtle knowing, I'm okay now. I'm not lost anymore. And then, without warning, life will begin to respond differently. The right people will appear not to complete you, but to walk beside you. The right opportunities will flow not because you chased them, but because you became the kind of energy that attracts alignment. You'll notice that your silence now speaks louder than your explanations, that your boundaries no longer feel like walls, but doors to peace. that your softness no longer feels like a risk, but your greatest strength. This is what the universe was preparing you for, the moment when your power no longer comes from control, but from surrender. You've learned to release timelines, expectations, and all the stories of what should have been. You've learned that sometimes the universe delays what you want to protect you from what you can't yet handle. But now you can handle it, because you've learned that your worth isn't dependent on outcomes. You've learned that love isn't about being chosen, it's about choosing yourself. You've learned that purpose isn't something you chase, it's something you live. There's a sacred peace in that realization. It's not loud. It doesn't demand validation. It simply is. And when you reach that space, something beautiful happens. The same world that once misunderstood you begins to see you differently, not because the world changed, but because your energy did. You start radiating calm in chaos. You become the light you were always meant to be, not through effort, but through authenticity. And people feel it. They don't always understand it, but they feel it. They'll tell you there's something about you, something grounding, something pure, something rare. And that's the moment you'll finally understand. You didn't need to become extraordinary. You only needed to become yourself. That's what the universe was waiting for. That's why it took its time with you. Because your light carries responsibility, it awakens others. And before you could guide others, you had to walk through your own shadows and learn the language of healing. You've done that now. And though the world hasn't fully caught up to your frequency yet, it will. Because truth always finds its way to those who are ready for it. So if you've ever wondered when your moment will come, it's already unfolding in every quiet choice, in every act of self-respect, in every time you refuse to dim your light just to be accepted. The universe isn't rushing you. It's honoring your depth. It's building a foundation strong enough to hold the kind of light that doesn't flicker under pressure. You are that light, and your time, your real time, is approaching. One day soon, you'll look back on this version of yourself, the one who doubted, who waited, who cried quietly in the dark, and you'll smile with tenderness, not sadness. You'll see how every unanswered prayer was a redirection, how every loss made room for peace, how every lonely night planted the roots of your strength. The universe never forgot you. It was building you. It was shaping your heart into something unbreakable, your spirit into something steady. Because rare souls are not meant to burn out, they are meant to endure. And when your light finally touches the world, it won't just shine, it will heal. It will remind others that slowness is sacred, that softness is power, that being misunderstood is often the first sign of being authentic. You are not late. You are right on time. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak, it all led you here. To this moment, to this peace, to this quiet, knowing that your purpose was never about being seen. It was about seeing deeply, feeling deeply, living deeply. So take this as your sign. The universe has always been on your side. It protected you until you could protect yourself. It delayed your blessings until you could receive them without fear. And now, it's opening doors that match your healed energy. If this touched your heart, if you felt even a small piece of yourself reflected here, don't let the feeling fade. Leave a comment, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more reminders that your light matters, that you matter. Because rare souls are never forgotten. They're just hidden until the world is quiet enough to hear their song. And your song is about to begin.